Hello everyone, this is Oluwaseun Amuda from GMI Training Institute. So today we'll be talking about how to configure a three-tier architecture using manual configuration. So we are not using CloudFormation this time around. If you check my previous YouTube video, I used CloudFormation, but this time around I want to use manual configuration, like this step by step. So let's take a look at the architecture diagram and let's see how we go about it. So this is the diagram. So we have here the VPC, the internet gateway. The VPC is associated to attached to the internet gateway. Then when you create your VPC, the next thing you do is you create your subnet. Subnet they are subsection of a VPC, like a breakdown of a VPC. So we have the public subnet and the private subnets. So we are creating one public subnet and two private subnets. One for this the S2 instance and the other one for the RDS. So we don't really need to create a subnet for it because we are only replicating it. So it's going to create it himself. And we have the route table. We are going to associate the route table to the internet gateway. And so let's take a look at about how we are going to go about this architectural diagram. So let's start. Okay, so the first thing we do is we go to VPC. So the first thing you create is your VPC. So search for VPC, and then we click on VPC. So by default, we have some default VPC that have already been created for you in each region. You can decide to use it and you might decide not to use it. So as you can see, in that Virginia we have 2 here, we have 8 here, we have 3 here. So let's see our other regions. So in other regions we have one VPC, as you can see, one default. So only this one is 2. Then here we have 8. In other regions, let's see what we have. So in other regions we have 3, 4, 3, like that, and the rest. So in terms of route table 2, we have 3. Let's check out what they have in other regions. So in other regions they have 1, 1, 1, 1, as you can see. So they are default. The reason why we are having this default is that we can enable easy creation. So take for example, you want to launch an Elastic Beam stack, easily it can be created. Or probably you want to launch an EC2 instance without creating your own VPC. Just as let's take for example, you want to test an EC2 instance, you can just easily create it. And one thing about this is they are entirely free. That is the VPC creation, the route table, the internet gateway, the subnets. They are free. The only one that costs is the EC2 instance. So let's create a subnet. So let's create a VPC. So we go to VPC. So these are the default one that's available. So I'm not using it how to create mine. So I click on create VPC. Then what's the name of my VPC? So let's call it Amuda. Then my setup block IPv4, let's call it 10.0.0.0/16. Then once again, the tenancy is default, so it can be dedicated or default. So use default for something that you want to share with other people too. So you are not the only one connected to the VPC. So that's the meaning of default. So for dedicated simply means this. So if something is entirely dedicated to you, that means nobody shares it with you. So that's default. That's dedicated. So tag. Let's go with the name. So let's create our VPC. So our VPC has been created. The next thing is to associate an internet gateway to the VPC. So let's go and create an internet gateway. So we have default internet gateway that are attached to pre-existing VPC. So we don't really. So let's create our own internet gateway. Let's name it IGW Amuda. Okay, so create an internet gateway. So temporarily is detached, so you click on action, then you attach it to a VPC. So which VPC are you attaching it to? Amuda is the only one that's not been attached to anything. So doing this, we have carried out the first operation, creating our VPC and attaching it to the internet gateway. The next thing is to create our subnet. So we want to create the public subnet and the private subnet. So let's go to subnets. So these are the default subnet that is available. So let's create ours. So click on create subnet. VPC ID is what the one we created, that's Amuda. And the subnet name is let's call it private. Public, let's call public. The availability zone is US is 1A. Let's pick 1A. And then this header block, that's 10.0.0.0/24. Okay, so let's add another subnet. Let's call it public. Oh no, sorry, let's call it private. It's private. The availability zone is US is 1A2. The header block is 10.0.0.0. So whatever it is, you can have the same. Let's call it 10/24. So let's add another subnet. So we want to create a subnet 3. Okay, let's 3. So call it private bond 2. So the availability zone is also US is 1A. This 10.0.11.0. You can give it any header block name you want. So let's create subnets. So we are creating, so we just create 3 subnets. So this is readily available, as you can see, attached to the VPC. So NACUS by default, you don't really need to deal with NACUS because it automatically allows traffic in and out. So we don't really need to specify them. So let's take a look at this NACUS. Let's see how it's being configured. So this as you can see, the VPC ID, 2 inbound routes and 2 outbound routes. Let's check if we can take a look at the inbound routes. So let's take a look at this. The inbound routes is it allows all traffic, as you can see, allows all traffic. Okay. That's inbound allows all traffic. So this is the one we have. Okay. I check the outbound too. It allows all traffic, as you can see, all traffic has been allowed. So stating this automatically, once you state allowed, it overrides the deny aspect of it. So that's NACUS for us, and let's go back to where you're coming from. So subnets, we have written our subnets right here. So we already have our subnets. We already have our availability zone US is 1. As you can see, US is 1, that's not regional. How do you know it's not regional? So let's scroll down here, this US is 1. Okay. So default subnet, as you can see, no. That's it. Now let's once we have created our subnet, the next thing is, let's take a diagram. The next thing is the NACUS has been created. It's our route table, so we have to associate the route table to the internet gateway. So we connect the route table to the public subnet. So let's do that. So let's go to the route table. Route table. Okay. There's traffic monitoring. Try to take a look at for the route table. It should be here. Okay, sorry. So this is route table. Now it says two subnets. Let's consider two subnets. Okay. So a default route table is being created for us. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at route table that we are having. So how do you know if you're having route table associated to our subnets? You scroll down here, as you can see, yes, this one, you're having route table. We shared these two share the same route table, and this yes is the last part of it. So we both share the same route table, the route traffic to the internet. So that's it. So where is the routing traffic to? It's routing traffic to the VPC. The reason is because the VPC is associated to the internet gateway. So from the VPC, we are routing it to the internet gateway. So that's route table. So the route table has been created. So the next thing is the next thing is to create our security group. Okay, yeah, we have to create our security group too. So you can come here, or you can use the default creation. So basically, you might decide to create a security group for yourself, or you allow the system to create it for you. But then let's allow the EC2 instance to create a security group for us. So let's go to the EC2 instance. So this is the EC2 instance console and the EC2 instance dashboard. So what you want to do is want to create an instance. There are two ways. Either use a launch template or use an instance, whatever, depending on whatever you wish to use. And if you want to use an auto scaling group, you can also go ahead with it. So let's create an instance. Okay, so we launch instance. So quick start. So we are using linears, and we have this already. So this is 12-bit, yeah, T2 micro. For this quick start, so most of it has a fit for us. So our key pair, you can use a key pair. That's it. So that's for you to use this. That means you have downloaded it. If you read this, you have to have access to it. So because this is what we are going to use to launch, to host website on your EC2 instance. This key pair is very necessary, especially when you want to connect your putty switch for Windows. So your putty to this EC2 instance, you actually need it. Then the networking settings. So we need to edit it to our own VPC. So that's it. The security group for this EC2 instance is public. So we have public. Then we want to assign a public IP address to it. So we create a security group. Then the launch wizard, whatever name it is that you want to give our security group. So I can decide to call it SG Amuda and SSH. So SSH to anywhere, yeah. Then let me add another secret group, that's HTTP So anyway, also, and let me add HTTPS to it. So HTTP. Okay. So let's remove this. So we are good to go. Then the storage, the minimum you can do is 8 gig RAM, 8 gig, and the root is just GP2, that's general purpose. So we have general purpose SSD, we have the provision IOPS, depending on the purpose you want to use it for. So advanced details, we can just keep that. Then we have a summary of this. So let's launch our instance. Okay, it says this is invalid, so let's edit this. And so let's edit this. So let's launch it. Now we are good to go. So we have created the first EC2 instance. As you can see, we have this. Let's reload. So it's loading. Let's create another EC2 instance for our public IP address, our private IP address. Sorry. So let's call it private EC2. Then the operating system configuration, the key pair, using this. Then the next thing is only SSH, so we are not using this. Okay, what is again? Okay, let's edit this. So to our VPC private, as you can see, private number one. Then no, we are not enabling this. It's private, so you don't enable public IP address. Then whatever name it is that you want to keep this, so you can call it any name. That's private one. Then what else again? Anyway, as you can see. So I think that was all. So let's launch our instance. So that's successfully created. So the next thing is we go and create our RDS. So as you can see, it's running. It takes time, so it's still running. So the next thing is to create our RDS. So that's our relational database. So let's go to RDS. So we go to RDS and just loading. So we create a database. So for production, since we are using this for not for production purpose, so let's go for easy create. So this is so create our database. So as you can see, it's creating this already, as you can see. Okay, we need to change the VPC. That's very important. So I think we have to delete this. So let's create another database. Let's create another database. go with standard. So because these are and availability version. Okay, this. So we are using it for testing stage. The settings, the password. Let's call it that. Let's call it that. So the memory size and the rest. So let's go for small. So we should have small. Okay. This is more than 8. Okay, I think we are good to go now. So okay, let's go for this. This is more cheaper. Let's use the class. The class is more cheaper, yeah. So let's go for this. This is more cheaper. Then multi-AZ. So multi-AZ is for multiple availability zones. So in case we have a read replica here. So we have a read replica here. So that's the importance of the multi-availability zone. So I'll create the read replica in another availability zone. That's why I didn't create the private subnet for it. So that's with that. So once I enable this, then it automatically create it for us. Then the connectivity is Amuda. So that's, as can see, says once a database is created, you can't change. It's VPC. That's why I had to create another VPC for this instead of using the default setup. So creating this, then we have public access. No, by default is no. So security group. So we choose an existing security group and let's go for SG private 1. And our availability zone is US1. So go with this. Do we need a Linux configuration? No. So password authentication, yeah, we are good to go. So let's create our database. So it's creating. Okay. This is your request to create database. 3 instance 1 didn't work. Okay. It doesn't meet availability zone coverage requirements. So I was saying it's availability zone. So let's pick another availability zone here. Let's create. Okay, it's coming out in the same error to add subnets to cover at least 2 AZs. Okay, it's saying I should have subnet to cover at least 2 AZ. Subnets. Okay, we didn't actually create enough subnet for it. And I don't want to enable read replica. So actually, if I enable read replica, it's going to go, but I don't want to enable read replica. So this is going to allow it. So I don't want to enable it. So let me just go back to the default one. So that's just how to create it. And let's go back to the one that we have created before. So let's take a look at it. Okay, still loading. So it says available, still loading. It's consistently creating. So you see this US1C. As you can see. So can we modify it? So let's check on what we can modify in it. We can add AWS region. We can create cross-region read replica. We can clone it. We can add replica to scaling and the likes like that. So that's the action you can still perform on this. So that's how you go about it. So let's delete what we have created. So this takes a long time. You can't delete it now because it's still creating. So you can actually delete it now. So let's keep loading. But then let's go and delete the EC2 instance. So how do they communicate? As long as they're in the same security group, they are going to communicate with each other. So what connects them is the security group. So take note of that. So we have actually done, okay, number one, the auto scaling group. Let me teach you how to add an auto scaling group to your EC2 instance. So let's go to EC2. So let's add an auto scaling group to our EC2 instance. So you click on auto scaling group. You create auto scaling group. So I can call it AG. So it actually wants me to launch a template. So I should have used a launch template for it, but let's leave it that way since we already created our EC2 instance ourselves. So I was mentioning launch template at that time. That's what this architecture does this with. So EC2 to your launch template, then it create the web server for you. So with that, it can easily create. So let me show you how launch template work. So okay, so this is required recently launched. What is browse more EMI? So we need data right in here. Okay, so I think I've done it. Let's use the security group. So let me take a look at some security group we can use right in here. Let me just let's go back. So let's say for example we have this, then I just say select or create security group. So that's, I can call it ASMUDA, whatever name it is I want to give it, then description, allow or SSH. Then this is already specified already because the subnet is attached to this already. So add security group rule. I don't think we need that. So what else again? So it's saying we should remove the subnets. So how do you go about that? Okay, subnets, because that will be attached to a particular EC2 instance. So let's use default one. Subnet for EC2 auto scaling template not applicable for EC2. So it's actually going to take a lot of work, simply because we have to create a subnet that is attached, that is not attached to an EC2 instance. So all these ones, they are default, so you can actually use them. That's why it's giving out this error. But then this is just how to create it. So you create your launch template, then then you assign your EC2 instance to it. So that's how you create it. So I'm having two instances run presently. So I have stopped the auto scaling group. So let me go back to my RDS. It should be done by now. So let's go and check our RDS. Okay, yeah, sorry, it's still loading. So our database, as you can see, available. So they are currently available. So let's start with deleting this. So from here, we can click on action, click on delete. So it says I should type delete. It's trying to check if delete me. So now it's just for writing instances, as you can see. Then let me delete this too. Okay, so you can stop a database for up to 7 days. If you do not manually start, it automatically okay, it says value is okay. So this has to delete finish first. So let's wait and see. It's already deleting already. That's it. So everything is what is deleting. So that's that about that. So let's go to our EC2 instance and let's delete it. Okay, so I have to delete this too. So in my next video, I'll be explaining how to host your website on the EC2 instance. So enable to subscribe. So it says successfully terminated. So it's going to take a while. So it's going to take a while. So it's shutting down. Takes some time. Then our VPC. So if I want to delete the subnet, the everything I've created, all I just need to do is I'll go to my VPC because they are inside shell, they are shares. So once I delete the VPC, everything on that gets deleted. So our VPC. So this was what I created. So the action is to delete VPC. So it's going to ask me that, no, look, I'm going to delete everything you have attached to the VPC. So it says, should I go ahead with it? So I'm saying yes. So delete it. And as you can see, it's already deleting. So everything has been deleted. The subnets, everything that we created is going to be deleted. Let's take a look at our subnet. It's no longer there again. As you can see, these are just the default ones. So that's how you go about it. The route table that was created for us is no longer there. The internet gateway is no longer there again. So that's how we go about it. So enable to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.